I figured it was about time for a new mock draft. It's the reason why a lot of you have subscribed to this channel, so it's about time that I deliver, and some things have changed. Of course, there are only 2 teams remaining in playoff contention. The draft order is further solidified after the divisional round of the playoffs, after the championship round of the playoffs, and that's since about the last time that I've done one of these, and things have changed quite a lot. The Packers are out, the Bills are out, only 2 remain. The new school, Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs versus the old school, Tom Brady and the Buccaneers. Should be a very interesting Super Bowl matchup. I'll be talking about the Super Bowl probably in another video on this channel, so make sure you're subscribed for that as well. But there have been some new news stories that have come out. Matthew Stafford will not be on the Lions next year. He will be traded, could be as soon as tomorrow, could be as late as the draft, but I think it happens before then for sure. Maybe Aaron Rodgers won't be on the Packers next year. That one I find to be a little bit more far-fetched. I think he will be on the Packers, but yeah, you never know. You never know what's going to happen. I do think, however, it's more likely that Jordan Love gets traded than Aaron Rodgers, but I don't know. The NFL is a crapshoot. Aaron Rodgers could call up and say, I'm not playing for you next year, and then what are the Packers going to do? They're in a pretty difficult situation, but we're going to operate under the assumption that Aaron Rodgers will be on the Packers. Not that would change much because they drafted Jordan Love in the first round last year, but Matthew Stafford will not be on the Lions. We'll be doing trades, but of course it is less important to focus on what is actually traded because I have to do whatever it takes in the trade simulator, and it's more focused on what team actually moves up to take which player. So starting out, Trevor Lawrence to the Jags. I think that one is the only set-in-stone pick. I think that one will happen without question. Urban Meyer called Trevor Lawrence the best prospect he's ever seen, and I could see that as a reasonable take. Trevor Lawrence is near perfect with size, athleticism, and then throwing ability. Trevor Lawrence is unbelievable. There's no competition between Justin Fields and Zach Wilson for number 1. Oh, Justin Fields beat Trevor Lawrence. It's a full team. And if there's no offensive line play from the Clemson Tigers and the Ohio State defensive line is getting after Trevor Lawrence and the other thing is not happening on the other side of the ball, yeah, it's going to be different. Justin Fields outplayed Trevor Lawrence in that game. One game doesn't matter. It's a full career of a college resume. And Trevor Lawrence's resume, as far as traits, even production, as far as everything goes, Trevor Lawrence is by far the better prospect. So don't tell me that this is even in contention for Fields at number 1, because it isn't. Urban Meyer, former Ohio State head coach, has zero connection to Justin Fields, who did not play at Ohio State at the time, transferred in. I've heard the narrative that, oh man, Urban Meyer wants to prove Ohio State quarterbacks can work in the NFL. I don't think he cares. Why would he? Doesn't matter. Trevor Lawrence at number 1. I had to just dispel some of these ridiculous opinions I've been seeing. I also think Zach Wilson goes to number 2. Did a video on Zach Wilson. I compared him to Patrick Mahomes in terms of potential playmaking ability. I think that's a stretch because I don't think he has that type of ceiling, but I think Zach Wilson does have a super, super high ceiling. Really, really fun prospect, is a big-time playmaker, quarterback number 2 in the class for me, and 3 and 4 are going to be tough. I'm up in the air with Justin Fields and Trey Lance at the moment. I think they're close. I know I've seen some guys have Trey Lance above Justin Fields, like Daniel Jeremiah. A lot of guys have Justin Fields ahead of Trey Lance. Like a lot of people, but it comes down to, well, is Trey Lance better from what we've seen? Yeah, he was more impressive, but also played 1 year at an FCS school, and that is going to weigh on the minds of some people. Would you rather have what Justin Fields has shown you, which is a solid plus starter at Ohio State, versus 1 year in the FCS? So it's a big conversation, but this is my first trade spot. The Dolphins are going to be moving out of number 3, and my trade partner is going to be the Panthers. Again, the trade details are less significant because they just have to make it go through in the Draft Network's trade simulator, but I figured number 3 overall, and they get number 8 from the Panthers and a first rounder next year, and they're going to swap 4th round picks. So the reason I think the Panthers could trade up in this situation is it's quite clear that the Lions are going to want a quarterback with Matthew Stafford being gone. They're looking to start over. This is a very, very good quarterback class. And yeah, there's a chance that the Lions could take the best receiver in the draft at number 7 if the board falls like that. but I think more than likely they're going to be looking quarterback there. If the Panthers are looking quarterback, which I think they probably should be at 8, they're probably going to want to look to jump the Lions. And in this instance, it takes up to number 3 to get that, because you can't just trade with whoever. The team picking at that spot has to be looking to make the trade. I think the Dolphins are in prime position to make that trade. I think this could be Penei Sewell, or maybe even the top receiver in the class. But in this instance, we're going to have the Panthers trade up. Maybe the Lions trying to trade up for that pick as well, jumping the Falcons, who would also maybe be looking to get a quarterback. And with 2 quarterbacks already gone and teams behind them looking maybe to get a quarterback, we're going to move up with the Panthers. And that is going to be by taking Justin Fields. I think Justin Fields very easily could be the 3rd best quarterback in this class. It's very tight with Trey Lance, in my opinion. And I am going to go Justin Fields at 3. Now, we're in a little bit of a tough position with the Falcons because I think they should take a quarterback here. However, the top 3 quarterbacks are off the board. Now, the Falcons could also consider taking the best defensive player available. New head coach in Atlanta. I think he could very well want his own guy. I know that 4 quarterbacks inside the top 4 seems crazy, but I think these top 4 quarterbacks are fairly close. Okay. So let me rephrase this, because I think Trevor Lawrence is a whole different tier. I think Zach Wilson's under that. I think Justin Fields and Trey Lance are comparable. That's kind of where I'm going with that. And then I think there's a drop-off significantly down to Mac Jones and then Jamie Newman or even Kyle Trask. But I do think that 4 quarterbacks could go in a row. I know that seems crazy, but you have teams behind the Falcons that could also take a quarterback, like the Lions at 7, like even the Eagles at 6. It's not like Jalen Hurts was so incredibly dominant that you wouldn't take a top quarterback in the class if one were to fall at 6. The Broncos, same kind of boat. 49ers, maybe. So a lot of teams might be looking to take these top 4 quarterbacks. I know 4 quarterbacks inside the top 4 seems ridiculous, but they are very, very good players, and teams behind them would be looking to take QB. So many teams need a quarterback right now. This is a very good quarterback class. I know it seems crazy, but for the Falcons and Matt Ryan, it's the same situation why the Packers would take a QB last year, and even less so. It's not like Matt Ryan is as good as Aaron Rodgers, and it's not like the Packers were in a worse situation than the Falcons are. The Falcons are a worse team. Does the best defensive player on the board make you a contender? And I think the answer is definitely not. Matt Ryan's super expensive. He will be on the team next year, but next year in 2022, the Falcons could get rid of him and save a ton of money and really start that rebuild. And what are you going to want with a rebuild? An actual quarterback that you can believe in and trust and build around. That's cheap on a rookie contract. I think Trey Lance makes a ton of sense. Bengals at number 5. I am going to go Penei Sewell here. I've talked about it. I'm not sure that he's actually the best tackle in the class. I know like Daniel Jeremiah, who I keep referencing back to, has Rashawn Slater as a better player. And I think it comes down to potential in Penei Sewell, who has the highest ceiling of any offensive tackle in the class, versus the high floor of how good is the player right now. And Rashawn Slater is the day 1 best tackle in the draft. Super, super solid. But Sewell is this unbelievably big athlete who's, I think, going to be 19 years old, maybe 20 years old on draft night. He's super young, super talented, just technically needs some refinement. I think that the Bengals would like his upside, maybe kick Jonah Williams to guard, maybe even play Jonah Williams at right tackle. Penei Sewell could be a guard. I think Sewell profiles really, really well as a guard, so I think that pick all around makes sense. Bengals value them some versatile offensive linemen, Jonah Williams, Billy Price. Eagles at number 6, though. I think they're in prime position to take maybe the best receiver in the class, and for me in this instance, that would be Jamar Chase. Linebackers in play, I think corners in play. I could see Caleb Farley. I could see Patrick Surtain. I could see Devontae Smith, Jalen Waddle with this pick. I could see Micah Parsons. But Jamar Chase is the difference maker. Eagles go with maybe the best receiver in the class. Lions at number 7. They're in a really tough spot because probably would have looked to go quarterback. I think that's been fairly well documented. And clearly, the top 4 quarterbacks are off the board. Remarkably, I had 4 quarterbacks going top 4. Insane, but with the trade, it's just what happened. What do the Lions do? Do they take a receiver here? Do they take a cornerback? Do they take Micah Parsons? they're in a really, really tough situation, in my opinion. But I think with the Dolphins picking at number 8, probably looking to go receiver, and the top 2 receivers on the board, I think if the Lions tried to trade down, they might lose out on whoever they consider to be the top receiver in the class. So I do think this could be receiver here. I'm going to go Devontae Smith. Dolphins at number 8, they traded down to this spot, and I think it worked out pretty well for them because they can grab, in my opinion, the best receiver in the class. It is very close. These top 3 are really, really good. And this mock draft has been so stupid looking so far. I see this and go, this is stupid. 4 quarterbacks in a row, 3 receivers in a row. But with the trades, I feel like it's just kind of the way the board has worked out so far. Jalen Waddle's a beast. Reunites with Tua Tagovailoa, his Alabama quarterback. And the Dolphins, who are close, but could use an elite separator, an elite potential slot guy as well, even though Waddle can play on the outside. Really, really great pickup for the Dolphins there. And now the Broncos at 9. And they have some options. They could go with what they believe to be the best edge rusher in the class. I think cornerback is a big need as well. I think Micah Parsons is certainly in play here. But I think maybe a true number 1 corner is more important than addressing linebacker right now. So Caleb Farley out of Virginia Tech goes to the Broncos at 9. Fits that Vic Fangio style defense as well as someone that can play press man at the line of scrimmage. And now the Cowboys at number 10. Could be corner as well. I think I've given them Patrick Surtain in this spot before. But I think I'm going to give him Rashawn Slater. He has guard flexibility, could even play center. But as I said earlier, I think he's probably... Well, I think he might be the best day 1 tackle in the class. And for the Cowboys, who have dealt with a lot of injuries, Tyron Smith at left tackle. La'el Collins was injured this past season at right tackle. Zach Martin's a beast, but there's not much there at left guard. There's not a ton there at center. I know Tyler Biadasz had a decent rookie year, but Slater just gives you a ton of flexibility and an answer for the future. And when Tyron Smith gets injured like he does every single year, you have a plug-and-play player to play left tackle, and he can play left guard immediately as well. Rashawn Slater is just a very, very good, polished offensive lineman right out the gate. And now the Giants at 11. My favorite team, of course. It's a tough spot for the Giants. Top 3 receivers are off the board. Could go corner here in Patrick Surtain. I think getting a true CB2 on the other side of James Bradbury would be a very, very wise decision. Kyle Pitts is an all-around unbelievable playmaker. But in this instance, I think I am going to go Micah Parsons. He fits the Giants attacking 3-4. I think Patrick Graham, the defensive coordinator for the Giants, would love a player like this who has kind of occasional edge flexibility. I know he's a defensive end in high school. I don't think he profiles as an every down rush end in the NFL at all. But as a 3-4 outside linebacker, can kick inside as well. Just as a versatile guy, I think that would be extremely, extremely valuable to a team like the Giants that really haven't invested high in linebacker in forever. But current GM of the Giants, Dave Gettleman, believe he drafted Luke Kuechly. So to get maybe his next great linebacker that shaped his defenses in Carolina, I think makes a lot of sense with Micah Parsons. 49ers at number 12. I think this should be Patrick Surtain. 49ers need corner really, really badly with guys like Richard Sherman, Jason Verrett potentially leaving next year. There's not a whole lot of cornerback to begin with anyways. I think even if they retain one of those guys, cornerback is still a need. Surtain goes to the 49ers at 12. Chargers at 13. I think it's very, very tempting to go offensive line here, but I'm super tempted to go Pitts. They're losing Hunter Henry potentially in free agency, and even so, Kyle Pitts is just a matchup nightmare, can play outside as well. Getting a big-time receiver would be pretty good for the Chargers. I like Keenan Allen. He's been a slot weapon for a lot of his career of late. And then Mike Williams might not be on the team much longer. Good player, but could be lost in free agency. I'm going to value offensive line a little bit more. And I think Christian Darrisaw is going to be my pick. Was so great at Virginia Tech this past year, and I think has earned his way into being a top 15 pick in the draft. Sam Cosmi, of course, in play as well. I think that Jalen Mayfield could be in play there if they're going offensive tackle. And now the Vikings at 14. Another interesting spot. Kyle Pitts is so tough for me to mock every time because I do think he's a really, really good player. Maybe top 5 in the class. But what team takes him? That's the thing. I think there are better scheme fits than Kyle Pitts with some of these guys. But teams that could take him, I think the Bengals are an outside shot, but I think offensive line probably more the need. I think the Eagles are an outside shot. They love their 2 tight end pairing with Zach Ertz and with Dallas Goedert, and with Zach Ertz probably on his way out of Philadelphia in the near future, and Kyle Pitts being a versatile guy to begin with, that you don't have to play a tight end. You can play him at outside receiver. Could be a big move. I think the Dolphins probably don't. I think the Lions probably don't. I think the Giants could at 11. I love what Daniel Jeremiah said about Pitts to the 49ers at 12. Yeah, they have Kittle, but they don't really even go with positions on offense. I mean, look at Deebo Samuel. Look at Brandon Ayuk. Look at what Kittle's been able to do. I think Kyle Pitts can be a positionless player for you. You play him wherever you want and just have a huge mismatch in weapon. But he's still on the board at 14. I don't think the Vikings do it either. I think they probably look elsewhere. But what do they take? Do they go offensive guard? I don't think a good enough one's available. Do they go defensive tackle? Maybe. We've heard great things about Le'Veon Uzurike lately. Could be the best D tackle in the class. I've been on Davion Nixon for a little while now. It's close. It's close to see who this could be if they go D tackle. I don't know. I think cornerback could be a need as well. Yeah, I feel like you can never go wrong with mocking offensive line to them, but I am going to give them defensive tackle. I'm going to go Davion Nixon at 14. Just an interior disruptor as a pass rusher. Probably play 3 technique. I think he'd be a good fit along with Michael Pierce, who is going to be non-COVID opted out next season probably. And for like a real nose tackle like Michael Pierce, you get an interior like disruptor and real penetrator there. Pause with Davion Nixon. I think you have a lot of value. And then this has got to be Kyle Pitts. The Patriots need a big-time playmaker on offense. That's exactly what Kyle Pitts is. I don't think he falls further than 15. I don't think any team would be in position to take him after this. I just don't think the Patriots would let him go if he falls to 15. I think he probably ends up going earlier. Cardinals at 16. I think this is cornerback all day. I'm going to go J.C. Horn. I'm a big Eric Stokes guy as well. I think he has really, really good potential. But J.C. Horn is probably better than Eric Stokes day one. And his only real knock is he's a little bit crabby. But I think that can be coached up easily. And J.C. Horn can be a really, really good player in this class. Raiders at 17. Another tough one because you got to factor in who's going to be a free agent. And what do they have on the back end? I almost want to give them a safety. I think it's a little bit too early for a safety. But they're so bad there. Like, if they have to run Eric Harris out there another year, like, wow, that's going to be bad. Jonathan Abram has been up and down, to say the least. I do like Max Crosby on the edge. I think Cleveland Ferrell is a good edge option. He's only gotten better of late. So what do you do if you're the Raiders at 17? I don't know. They're in a tough spot. They might have to go safety here. Trayvon Moehrig is really good. Javon Holland's really good. I don't know, man. This is a tough spot for me. Is Kwity Paye just the best player available? Would they opt to go Rousseau? I'm going to give him Gregory Rousseau. That's a really tough spot for me. I think you're playing the potential game with Rousseau there. Another guy I did a video on. I think Rousseau has super high potential as a player. I talked about it in my video, but he's extremely raw right away. So maybe as someone that can come in and be a versatile player right out the gate, someone that can line up on the defensive line, on the interior, at any of the D tackle spots. He's even played the nose at Miami and did so fairly successfully. I think he can set the edge as well. I think he's a versatile guy year one, year two, and someone that you mold to be a really, really good player. Maybe in 3 or 4 years. He's someone who I'd be kind of shocked if he was came into the league and is dominant right away. I think his sack numbers could be good because they could be schemed. But Rousseau is a high potential guy, and as someone who doesn't have to come in and start right away on the edge, I think he's in a really, really good spot there with the Raiders. I don't mind that. We got the Dolphins at 18. I like Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah here. I think I might give them Travis Etienne. He's got home run speed at running back. He's my number 2 running back of the class, but it's the argument of like consistency and hard-fought yards with Najee Harris, or hey, maybe he'll break off a run for 60, 70 yards on one play. And maybe the Dolphins value that more. First running back off the board at 18. At 19, we have the Washington football team. Offensive tackle is certainly in play here. I think maybe even Mac Jones at 19 they could take. Got rid of Dwayne Haskins. I guess they would be in prime position to take a quarterback. All right, we'll give Mac Jones at 19. I think offensive tackle would be better for them to take. I think even maybe receiver would be better for them to take. But Mac Jones is their potential QB of the future there at 19. At number 20, Chicago Bears. Another team who needs a quarterback. Very similar needs to the Washington football team, with guys like Allen Robinson becoming free agents, with no answer at quarterback, with their offensive line a mess. Cody Whitehair is a free agent as well. Wait. No, maybe he's not. Maybe in 2 years he is. Okay, so left guard and center should be fine with Whitehair and James Daniels coming back. Tackle's a mess. I think I am going to give him receiver, though. Rashad Bateman, I kind of like him as an Allen Robinson replacement. Robinson will not be on the Bears next season. I believe that wholeheartedly. I'm doing a video on free agents coming up pretty soon, but I don't think Allen Robinson is returning to the Bears. I think Rashad Bateman makes a lot of sense there. I'm a guy who's pretty high on Rashad Bateman. I think he's probably a top 15 player in the class. The receiver class is just loaded this year. And then Colts at number 21. This is offensive tackle all day. I'll give him Sam Cosmi. Plug and play left tackle. Anthony Costanza retired. Whoever your quarterback is in 21, whether it's Matt Stafford or Jacoby Brissett or Jacob Eason or somebody else, Kyle Trask maybe in the second round, you need protection. They have nothing at left tackle right now. Sam Cosmi is the guy. At edge for the Titans, I'm going with Kwity Paye. I'm actually not. I don't like the scheme fit there. I like Joseph Osai a little bit better, playing in the 3-4. I think Kwity Paye is a good player. I don't think he's the 10th best player in the draft. I think Joseph Osai is really good. I think Jalen Phillips is really good. There's just a bunch of really, really good edge rushers in this class. I've been big on Patrick Jones for a while. I think he probably ends up being a first-round pick. Joe Tryon's got a lot of hype. It's tough. There's a lot of solid edge guys, even if there's no Chase Young in this class. I think there are going to be some big-time edge guys in the future in this particular draft class. Jets at 23. I think this might be Eric Stokes for me. Cornerback is a really, really big position of need for the Jets. They go quarterback early. Now they address the other side of the ball and go corner in Eric Stokes. Steelers at 24. Najee Harris maybe wouldn't be the worst selection. I am going to go Jalen Mayfield. Alejandro Villanueva is a free agent. I've done this pick a few times now, but I think it just makes sense. I think he's probably the best player on the board for the Steelers at that point. I think this could be back-to-back offensive tackles as well, with the Jaguars probably losing Cam Robinson to free agency. You have to protect Trevor Lawrence. I am going to go... A lot of hype around Tevin Jenkins of late, by the way. But I am going to go probably Liam Eichenberg here. And then the Browns at 26. I've given them Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah a couple times now. And there's belief that the Browns won't invest a high pick on a linebacker. I don't think this is a super high pick at this point. I think Owusu-Koramoah immediately comes in as your will linebacker, playing on the weak side, and is the type of player that they need. Someone that can cover in space, and someone that can go sideline to sideline. And I think that pick just works for the Browns. I don't know why they wouldn't take linebacker, arguably their biggest position of need, at number 26 in the draft. It's not like this is a top 10 pick. Ravens at 27. I think this is edge, and I think they do go Kwity Paye. I'm kind of shocked myself to see him fall all the way to 27, but I'm doing the mock draft. This is what could happen. You never know. And Kwity Paye is someone who would be playing in that 3-4, but much like Calais Campbell, I think they could use a big guy like this. Paye is not the size of Calais Campbell, don't get me wrong. Like, Kwity Paye is 6'5", right? Okay, 6'4", 6'5", 280. Calais Campbell is 6'7", 300. But Paye is he's a big guy. And I think he offers you a lot of explosiveness off the edge as well. I think he's a plus run defender. And with Matt Judon probably not going to be on the Ravens next year, I think the Ravens opt to go with Paye there at 27. I think there's something with Pay Dirt as a nickname there. We'll have to see. Saints at 28. I love Zaven Collins here, so I'm going to do it. Don't hesitate. Someone that can play outside linebacker in their 4-3, slide down on the edge, and rush the passer as well. Trey Hendrickson probably leaving in free agency. The Saints are just in a really tough position with the cap. They could take a number of different positions here. I wouldn't be surprised if this was like a more traditional off-the-ball linebacker like Nick Bolton, or a quarterback, or a receiver, or a cornerback, or an edge player. I mean, there's just so many needs for the Saints for being a really good team, but I think Collins makes a ton of sense. Got to be corner here for the Packers. I'll tell you, Chandon Sullivan can't be the guy, and Kevin King clearly cannot be the guy. I've given them a cornerback a number of times at this point. Jair Alexander is a stud. They need a receiver. I believe this wholeheartedly, but corner is such a position of need for them. It is ridiculous. Now, deciding who the best cornerback for them is a little bit tough because it is going to be an outside boundary player. You can cross off Sean Wade. They run quite a bit of man coverage, I believe. I think I believe it's the highest rate of any team in the league. So who best fits that? Aaron Robinson is a slot guy. Asante Samuel, I can believe, play on the outside. Greg Newsome was so great this past season at Northwestern. We're going to say he sneaks inside the first round. We're going to go Greg Newsome to the Packers at 29. Like him as a player. He was shut down. He was a guy who graded really well in the PFF system, if you value that. Really low passer rating allowed as well. Newsome was a stud, even if he didn't have the best ball skills last season at Northwestern in terms of converting chances to interceptions. Bills at 30. What do you do if you're the Bills here? Because they're losing maybe John Feliciano, maybe Darrell Williams, and that's guard tackle. Matt Milano at linebacker. There's no true boundary corner on the other side of Tre'Davious White. So what do you do here if you're the Bills at 30? Who do you take? What's the biggest position you need to replace? Well, let's see how the board is working out here. I don't know. I'm not sure here. Edge is in play as well. I think, just based on who the cornerbacks are that are available, I think you probably don't go corner. Nick Bolton, he's got a lot of speed. I think he'd play weak side linebacker pretty easily. Tremaine Edmonds as the Mike. Bolton, I think, is a pretty good fit there. Bucks at 31. Another tough spot because you might lose Chris Godwin, Antonio Brown. I am going to go receiver here. It's just which one do you like on the other side of Mike Evans? I think Kadarius Toney makes a lot of sense. I'm going to go Kadarius Toney here. He actually showed up bigger at the Senior Bowl than a lot of people expected. He's a really solid route runner. Gives you a lot of slot flexibility. I think you can use him in a number of different ways. And he makes sense as a foil to what Mike Evans offers you. Great with the football in his hands. Really, really easy separator. Easy pick for the Bucks at 31. And then the Chiefs at 32. I've given them Elijah Vera Tucker before, and I will not stop doing that now. He has tackle flexibility as well. Showed to be a pretty good tackle at USC, but is a very, very good guard. And the Chiefs need that greatly. Yeah, if Laurent Duvernay-Tardif comes back, that's great. Good option at right guard for you. But center is not particularly good. Left guard is not particularly good. And even I'm not a huge Eric Fisher guy at left tackle. I think he's a good player. Not amazing. Injuries happen all the time. A guy like Elijah Vera Tucker would certainly be a good option. And probably a starter right away at left guard. But that is my mock draft with trades. Only did a few trades, right? Only had the Panthers move it up, and the rest I had staying. I don't really know who else I see moving up, though. With the 4 quarterbacks off the board, 1, 2, 3, 4, it's not like other teams would be moving up to take like Mac Jones or Kyle Trask or, I mean, Jamie Newsome is not going to be a first-round pick. I don't know. Did I say Jamie Newsome? Jamie Newman. I sounded so awkward as soon as it came out of my mouth. I just saw Greg Newsome and said the wrong name. But yeah, interesting mock draft. I'm sure you disagree completely. A lot of guys I wanted to put in the first round that just didn't end up going. But it's tough, you know. Have to see what the board does and go from there. Can't plan these out in advance. But that's going to do it for the video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed. See you in the next one. Take it easy.
Insane, I hit it at the park, Ben Bones. See me high step to the end zone. My life like a game, Nintendo. Playing with the best, let over you. Yeah, yeah. Papa turn taking it back to the house. Defensive joke, I'm laughing so loud. Speed burst good.